Good afternoon, my friends. Brian here with VetteSource, back today working on our bottom of the sea 40th anniversary car that we salvaged a few weeks back. Today we're going to go continuing our pursuit and proof of life here for this car, and we're going to verify what's going on here in our fuel tank and with our fuel pump system. Now the good thing about C4s is that they're very, very simple to get to the fuel pump. You do not have to drop the tank. You do not have to do that. I'm sure there's other guys that have done videos on getting to this fuel pump assembly, but what we're going to do is pull this assembly, check it visually, make sure it actually is a new assembly. I'll show you real quick. A spiffy made in Taiwan unit, which I'm sure was another eBay special that they bought, and then of course it's got the wrong bolts holding it in here. I may have to go ahead and go grab some others of my originals off the shelf, but it does appear to still be new. So what we're going to do is go ahead and pull this out, do a visual inspection, and then we're going to go ahead and prime it and see if it will actually in fact prime the system, or if it's gotten trashed from sitting here for however long they let it sit here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull our main feed line off, which of course a little bit sticky from sitting. And that's the one thing about these, is that they are relatively simple. You do want to make sure that you don't use too much force on them to rip these fuel lines, because they're not the easiest to get back in there. You can actually wedge it right here against the housing. A lot of times, famous last words. And this one's been sitting, obviously. So let's pull. There we go. Let's see here. Not broken, long. There we go. All right. There's our feed line off. Here is our return line. Let's get this out of the way. Man, the way the wind blowing today, the freeway noise is rather loud. I guess everybody's out running around looking for Christmas presents. Let's go ahead and get that off of there. There we go. Right, there's our return line off, and let's go ahead and get our vapor line off, which is down in here. Okay, all right. Now we've got our hoses off and out of the way. Let's go ahead and use this 10 mil. Get this up and out of here. And the reason why I use the hand tools on these guys is sometimes these will actually become frozen down inside here from the fuel vapors. These bolts will weld themselves into the tank assembly, the bladder, and then they'll snap off, leaving you unable to put new bolts in there. Now, in the ultimate scheme of things, it's not horrible if you got one or two that do that to it, but if you've got a bunch of them that end up snapping off in there, and you don't get that fuel tank or that fuel pump assembly sending unit secured in there properly, all you're going to get is a bunch of fumes inside the car or running behind the car to make it rather unattractive. So we're going to make sure that we go slow, because with the electric tools or air tools, sometimes you can hit it too hard with too much torque and break it off. So So we're just trying to avoid that right now. What a shame. You know, you guys may have seen my other video, our second video, where we were able to prove this car only has 27,000 miles on it, which is ridiculous how nasty this poor thing is. But again, this is what happens to some of these cars when they become forgotten about and just left. Other things happen, you know. So anyway, let's keep going with this. I'm going to be hopefully optimistic and say that this one is still going to be in good shape, because I would love to be able just to go ahead and fire this up, get it off the trailer. We actually did get it to start with starting fluid in the last video, so we do know that it's got spark and the computer is operational right now, for right now. But once we do that, then we can focus on any minor cosmetic issues. There's not much we're going to be able to do without repainting this car. So basically what it's going to involve is a very deep cleaning just to get it somewhat respectable again. The interior looks really nice in this car. There's not even any wear on the bolsters and the seats. And then we'll go from there and decide how we're going to approach it. Now, for those of you who did not see, this is our 1993 40th anniversary that literally was abandoned in front of the house. It was sitting on, or sitting in front of, next to a hedge, on jack stands in the dirt. I kid you not. And funny thing is, this is not the first one I found like this. Cars from the 90s. I talked about that a lot in that first video, but you know. Why they put washers in there? Hopefully, if we're lucky too, the tank sticker will still be on this car, which would be cool. Not that I can really easily get to it, but on a C4 at least you can visualize it and see it in there. Let me get that. Oh well. Lost one of my washers there. And like I said, this is much easier than taking out the entire fuel system like I've highlighted in one of my other videos. Well, okay. Isn't that always the way it works out? Okay, so let's see here what we got. Pull this out of the way. We will. Well, at least they put that back onto the harness. Let's see what we got here. Oh yes, nice. All right. And there actually is fuel in here, but what that may mean is that the pump is not activating like it should, which again wouldn't surprise me. You know, so let's go over here. And let's see, let me get set up real quick and we'll see what it's doing. Okay, so we've got power to it. We've got it where we need to be to check it, but I can already tell you now, just with a cursory examination, see that right there? That is our main fuel feed outlet from the fuel pump. And I can guarantee you that even if that fuel pump is working, which I think it might be, we're not going to get any fuel because all it's going to do is dump it right back in the tank. But let's at least see if it turns on and does the prime when we turn the key forward, so we can at least check that out real quick. So hang on, I'm going to go over here and do this. All right. see real quick here. Okay, so we do have life. You can see it spitting fuel out of there, but again, we've got a pretty dead battery, so we need to let that charge for a while, and then we'll come back here and see what we can come up with. I'm gonna go see if I can find another hose connection in my stores, my spare parts, see if I got something I can fix that real quick. So I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so we got lucky. I had this left over from our Tornado when I changed the fuel pump on that, which I actually did not do on camera, simply because it was kind of like the Alante. But there's our new piece right there. So let's go ahead and take this one off, and then we'll let this car charge for a little bit longer, and we'll see if this old boy will start for us. I'd be willing to bet it does. So we're gonna go ahead, it's got to be the way the wind's blowing, because normally the road noise is not this terrible bad. And I'm just going to cut this one off with these old dull, which are not working. Okay, fine. Don't work then. There we go. Alright. Probably they might have used, I don't know, that looks like the correct hose. I don't know. Let's see. It's a little bit thin. I think that might have been the problem. They just used a regular vacuum hose and not the regular fuel hose that it requires. Get that on there. And let's see if we got enough room to work with here. Let's go ahead and pull this apart. Oh, okay. Alright. Let's go. Let's see. Over here. Let's see if we can get this to cooperate for me. A little bit further up. Come on, buddy. Oh, I don't know why I just did that. Did it backwards. Let's go this way. Well, of course, it doesn't want to cooperate. Back. There we go. And almost lost this. Let's see here. Definitely. Fitting in there very well. if I can get this on here in the right orientation. I'm missing the orientation here. Let's see. I always seem to be messing up my left and my right ever since I was a kid. But this one here, what's funny is the orientation doesn't really even feel that right. Okay. That's what we get with these Taiwan pumps. So not the sturdiest, and the tooling is not always the best. Alright, let's see here. I'll work on this other end first. Get this secured. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this down. That down. Okay. This side opened up a little more. Yeah, it was definitely the wrong hose on there. Okay. Let's get that down. To admit, I've always found these pumps, especially the aftermarket kind, to be rather aggravating, simply because they just don't like to go back in this housing like they should. And yeah, I know I'm scratching up the paint a little bit on this, but truth is, this old guy is going to need to be painted regardless of what I do to it. Let's get this oriented correctly. I think that we're going to end up with more accessories on this. So we're going to go ahead and finish that. Give me just a second, I'm going to finish this up. Okay, so we muscled our way through that, and I still don't like the way this insulator is fitting in here, but for my purposes right now, it's going to be okay. So to snake this back in here, we're just going to float in first, get that in there gently, and then we're going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. And go straight down. There's also a small little, looks like an open cup or Tupperware piece at the bottom of this, and what it does is keeps fuel in that pocket so it doesn't run out of fuel during aggressive turns if you're going really fast or low on fuel. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm just going to put a couple of these in here. Since we temporarily lost my 10mm, and let's see here. Where's my return? Where's my main fuel feed line? Lord help me. There we go. Okay. There's our main fuel feed. Back on there again. Forgot my Dawn soap. Let this guy sit for so long that the gas fumes pretty much boogered up main clamps as well, so we'll have to change those. Now understand, this is not going to be my first time in here, my last time I should say. I'm going to be back in here again to readjust things, make sure everything's hooked up properly. But for now, if we can get it to start and come off the trailer, then I can go ahead and either put it in the driveway temporarily so I can fix up the little things, clean it up that we need to, and go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab, I wish I could get this one to cooperate. I really don't want fuel. That thing is jammed up. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go get some starting fluid again and our PBT blaster to blast that thing off of there. And we'll see what she'll do. So stand by, give me a minute. Okay, so we're up here at the front of the engine now. We're going to go ahead and douse our throttle body with a little bit of lovely starting fluid, and let's see what it'll do. Well, we can see they did not put the fuel injectors back on correctly. Well, at least now we know it runs. However, yeah, that's why we don't buy cheap eBay fuel injectors, guys. This one back here, one of these two is leaking rather severely. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this rail off, but we now know this car runs. So that is the good news, bad news scenario that we've got here. But I'm happy with those results. I'll live with that. It sounded excellent. Actually sounded just like my yellow competition yellow LT4. So And of course it is filthy and nasty in here. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up today, guys. This video ran a little bit longer, but I wanted to bring you through to show you the process I took just to check the fuel system. So now this is pretty easy. Well, next video we'll pull this apart, and what I'll do is put the actual 4 injectors that I have factory back on there again, and then we'll try it again and see what it does. So thanks for watching, my friends. We'll catch up with you next time. See you then.